The world of Leora was quiet. It was gray, always gray. The sky was not blue, the grass was not green, and the flowers were nothing more than pale shadows. To the people of her planet, this was normal. They were born without colors. They lived without them. And they died without ever knowing what they were missing. But Leora was different. She often asked questions. She looked at the sky and whispered, "Why is it only this way? Why does the world feel empty?" The elders told her not to ask such things. They said curiosity was dangerous. They said the laws of the galaxy had chosen this life for them, and it was not her place to question. Still, the emptiness grew inside her heart. Every day she woke up, walked through the same gray streets, and saw the same lifeless walls. The voices of her people were dull. Their faces carried no joy. They lived with rules, not with wonder. And sometimes Leora felt as if the whole world was asleep except her. One evening she sat near the river. The water flowed softly, silver in the fading light. She closed her eyes and tried to imagine something different. She did not know what she wanted to see, only that she wanted more. She wanted a secret her world was hiding. That was when she heard the sound, a small crack in the air, a hum that did not belong. Her heart raced. She turned her head, and there, across the river, stood a figure. It was not one of her people. The figure's clothes were strange, sharper and darker. The face was softer, the eyes sharper. This was no citizen of her world. This was something she had only heard of in old whispers. A human. The human raised a hand slowly as if to say, "Do not be afraid." But Leora's heart thundered. Humans were forbidden. The laws of the galaxy declared that no human must ever set foot on her world. To meet one was a crime. To speak with one was unthinkable, and yet curiosity pulled her closer. She stepped into the shallow water, crossing the river until she stood just a few steps away. Her voice shook as she whispered, "Who are you?" The human smiled faintly. "Someone who does not belong here," he said. His voice was calm, warm, and carried a secret weight. "But maybe someone you have been waiting for." Leora frowned. "I don't understand." The man looked at the river, then back at her. "Do you ever feel like your world is hiding something? Like the truth is locked away from you?" Her breath caught. No one had ever spoken her own thoughts out loud. She felt both fear and hope rise inside her chest. "Yes, I feel it every day." The human stepped closer, his boots sinking slightly in the mud. "That's because your world is blind. Not by choice, but by force. You do not see the truth. You do not see." He paused, and his voice grew quiet, almost reverent. "You do not see colors." The word struck Leora like lightning. Colors? She had never heard such a word before. It felt heavy, important, as if it carried the power to change everything. "What are colors?" she asked, her voice trembling. The human leaned forward, his eyes burning with a strange light. "They are the missing pieces of your world. The fire of the stars, the life of the trees, the beauty of everything you cannot name. You live in shadows, Leora, but there is more. Much more." Her knees grew weak. For a moment she felt dizzy, as if the air itself had shifted. She wanted to believe him, but the warnings of her people screamed in her mind. The laws of the galaxy were clear. Her species was not meant to know such things. To even ask was dangerous. "Why are you telling me this?" she whispered. The man's face softened. "Because I have seen what your people have lost. I cannot stay silent. Someone must know the truth." Leora's heart pounded. Fear pressed down on her, but a stronger feeling pushed back. Hunger. Hunger for the unknown. Hunger for the truth. She stared at him, her voice quiet but firm. "Show me." The human studied her for a long moment. His eyes searched hers as if to test her courage. Then he reached into his pack and pulled out a small device no bigger than his palm. It glowed faintly, a light she had never seen before. It was not gray. It was not silver. It was something strange, alive, and impossible. "This," he said softly, "will change everything." The glow reflected in her wide eyes. For the first time in her life, Leora felt the weight of destiny. She did not yet understand what was coming, but deep inside she knew one thing: her world would never be the same. The strange glow from the human's device lit Leora's face. She had never seen light like this. It was not the dull silver of lamps or the pale shine of the moons. This glow was alive. It pulled her closer, as if whispering secrets only she could hear. Her heart pounded. "What is it?" she asked. The human looked around carefully before answering. His voice was low, urgent. It is forbidden technology. Your world is not meant to have this. If anyone sees me with it, I will be hunted. If anyone sees you with me, you will be punished. Leora's breath caught. Punished. The word chilled her. Her people followed the Galactic Law without question. Breaking it was unthinkable, yet she could not look away from the strange glow in his hand. You should leave, she whispered, though her voice trembled with doubt. If they find you, the man shook his head. No, I came here for a reason. To give a gift. A dangerous gift, yes, but one that could change your life forever. Leora stared at him, torn between fear and curiosity. Why me? Because you asked, the human said. Because you feel the emptiness. The others live blind, but you are searching. You are ready? His words struck deep. For years, Leora had carried questions she could never ask aloud. Now this stranger spoke them as if he had known her forever. Her voice grew quiet. What does it do? The human opened the device. A tiny spark floated above his palm. At first it seemed like any other light, but then it shifted. It changed. The spark burned with a shade unlike anything she had ever known. Not silver, not gray. Something warmer. Fiercer. This, the human whispered, is called red. The word shook her soul. Red. The sound was strange, but the sight was even stranger. The spark felt alive, like fire made solid. It made the gray world around it seem lifeless, empty, hollow. Leora gasped and covered her mouth. It's beautiful, she whispered, though she had no word for beauty. Tears filled her eyes. She did not know why. Something inside her was breaking and healing all at once. For the first time in her life, she saw something her world had hidden from her. But the human's face was serious. This is only the beginning. Once you see one color, your eyes will crave the others. Red is passion, blood, danger. But there is also blue, green, gold. A whole spectrum waiting for you. Once you start, you cannot go back, Leora trembled. The thought was terrifying and thrilling. She wanted more. She wanted everything, but fear still held her. Why is it forbidden? Why would the galaxy not want us to see this? The human's eyes darkened. He looked at the spark as though it carried both wonder and sorrow. Because once, long ago, your people saw colors. But colors brought jealousy, greed. Wars were fought over beauty. The council decided that peace was more important than freedom. So they erased color from your species. And they made it law, no one must ever restore it. Leora's chest tightened. Worse, greed? Could beauty really be so dangerous? She thought of her people, living in gray streets, walking in gray silence. Was this truly peace? Or was it only a prison? Her voice cracked. If it is so dangerous, then why show me? The human's eyes softened. Because hiding truth is more dangerous. Because joy, wonder, and freedom matter more than fear. Because someone must remember what was lost. Silence fell between them. Only the river whispered in the dark. Leora stared at the spark. She could not look away. She could not imagine going back to a world without it. She whispered, almost pleading, "Show me more." The man hesitated. His hand hovered above the device. His eyes searched hers one last time. If I do this, there is no turning back. You will live in danger. The council will hunt us. Even your own people may fear you. I don't care, Leora said, surprising herself with the strength in her voice. I don't want to live blind anymore. The human gave a faint, sad smile. Very well. Then you are ready. He pressed the device again. Another spark appeared, this one softer, cooler. It spread across the water like a breath of calm. Blue. Leora gasped. Her knees buckled and she fell to the ground, hands gripping the wet soil. Tears poured from her eyes. Blue. It was different from red, yet equally alive. It was not fire. It was water, sky, infinity. She sobbed openly, unable to stop. She did not understand why these colors made her cry, only that her soul was too small to contain them. The human knelt beside her. His voice was gentle, almost fatherly. This is only the beginning. Your world will never look the same again. But before Leora could answer, a sharp sound pierced the night, a shriek mechanical and cold. She froze. The human's eyes hardened. In the distance, lights cut across the sky. A patrol ship, the man's voice dropped to a whisper. They are searching for me. If they find us, they will take the device. They will erase everything you've just seen. Fear jolted through Leora's body. The red spark flickered, the blue shimmer dimmed. She clutched the human's sleeve. Don't let them take it. Don't let them take this away from me. The man's jaw tightened. Then you must choose now, Leora. Will you stand in the shadows of their law or step into the danger of truth? The patrol ship roared closer, its light sweeping across the river. The sparks of red and blue shimmered between them, fragile yet defiant. Leora's heart hammered. She knew her answer. She just had to speak it. The patrol ship's light swept across the gray hills. Leora and the human crouched low near the riverbank, the two sparks, red and blue, fading into the shadows of his device. Her chest heaved. Every sound felt louder, every movement more dangerous. Stay quiet, the human whispered. His eyes never left the sky. They cannot know you've seen it. Leora pressed her hand to her chest where her heart thundered like a drum. The colors still burned in her mind. Red, the fire that made her tremble. Blue, the calm that made her cry. She could not erase them no matter how hard she tried. The world around her, once plain and gray, now felt wrong. Empty. The patrol ship hovered for a long moment, then drifted away, its harsh glow vanishing into the night. Silence returned. Only the water whispered again. Leora gasped for air. I thought they would take it. Take everything away. The man's voice was calm but heavy. They will, if we're not careful. What you carry now is more dangerous than any weapon. The council will not forgive it. She looked at him, trembling. But why? Why would they fear something so beautiful? He met her eyes. Because beauty is power, and power changes people. Leora fell silent. His words frightened her, yet she could not turn back. The fire of red, the peace of blue, both now lived inside her. She wanted more. She needed more. The man must have seen it in her face because his expression softened. He reached into the device again. One more, he whispered. But this time, you must promise to remember it, even if they take me away. She nodded, her throat too tight to speak. The device hummed softly. Slowly the air before her shifted. The spark bloomed, but it was not fire red or sky blue. It was something new. A deep, gentle shade that spread like a blanket over her soul. Green. Leora gasped. Her hands reached out as if to touch it, though it was only light. What is it? She breathed. The man smiled faintly. This is green. The color of life. Of forests, of growth, of hope. Her eyes filled with tears again, but this time her tears felt different. Not only sadness, not only joy, something in between. Something bigger. She thought of the dull gray fields her people farmed, the lifeless hills, the cold streets, and she thought of what they could be if they were alive with this. It feels alive, she whispered. Yes, the man said quietly. That is the gift your world was denied. Her chest ached. But why me? Why now? Because one spark must begin the fire, he said. You may be the first in generations to see, but if you carry it, others may follow. Leora's hands shook. She wanted to believe him. She wanted to believe she could be more than just another shadow in her people's gray world. Yet fear gnawed at her heart. What if they find me? She whispered. The man's gaze hardened. Then they will silence you. But until then, you must choose. Will you live blind like the others, safe but empty? Or will you risk everything to see the truth? Leora's mind whirled. The council, the patrols, the laws drilled into her since childhood. All told her to walk away. But her soul screamed louder. She thought of red, of blue, of green. She thought of how they made her heart race, how they made her cry, how they filled the emptiness she had carried her whole life. She looked up at him. Her voice was soft but steady. I choose to see. The man studied her, then gave a slow nod. Then you are no longer just a girl of this world. You are something greater. Leora's breath caught. Something greater. The words both terrified and thrilled her, but before she could answer, movement flickered in the distance. Shadows against the hills. Voices carried on the wind. Her blood froze. The man's face darkened. They're close. Leora's heart leapt. The patrol? Not just patrols, he said. His voice was grim now. Bounty hunters. The council must have raised the alarm. Panic rushed through her veins. She clutched his sleeve. What do we do? He looked at the glowing sparks in his device. Red, blue, green shimmered faintly, fragile yet fierce. Then he shut it quickly, plunging them into dull gray once more. We run, he said, and we hide. But remember, what you saw cannot be erased. Even if they take me, even if they destroy this device, you will carry colors inside you. They live in your memory now. Leora's heart pounded as they slipped into the shadows, leaving the river behind. Her steps were unsteady, her breath fast. But inside her, something had changed forever. The gray world she had known her whole life now looked hollow. The streets, the faces, the sky, empty shadows compared to the fire of red, the calm of blue, the life of green. She whispered to herself, clutching her chest as if to protect the secret within. I will not forget. I will never forget. Behind them, the voices of the hunters grew louder. The hunt had begun, but in her heart for the first time there was light. The night air was sharp as Leora and the human fled across the hills. The gray grass crunched under their feet, the sound too loud in her ears. Behind them, voices shouted, lights flashed, and the whir of engines carried on the wind. Her lungs burned. Her legs trembled. Yet she kept running. She could not lose the colors now, not after seeing red, blue, and green. At last, the man pulled her into the hollow of a broken cliff. They crouched in silence, their breath ragged. The shouts grew faint in the distance, though she knew the danger was not gone. Leora clutched her chest. They will not stop. Why chase so hard? Why fear colors this much? The human's eyes were shadowed. He looked at her, then at the sky. Because the law is old. Older than you, older than me. It was written in blood. Her brows furrowed. What do you mean? He hesitated, then spoke in a low, heavy voice. Long ago, your people saw what you have seen tonight. They saw skies of blue, fields of green, fires of red. And they loved it too much. They fought for it. They killed for it. Whole nations tore each other apart over beauty and greed. The council decided that colors made you dangerous. So they stripped them away. They changed your very blood, erased the gift from your eyes, and they swore no one would ever undo it. Leora's heart sank. The memory of the glowing sparks pressed against her chest like a secret flame. So they punished us. Forever? Yes, he said. To the council, peace is more important than truth. Order is worth more than freedom. She shook her head. Her voice trembled. But what kind of peace is this? My people do not laugh. They do not sing. They walk like shadows. They obey because they do not know joy. Is that truly peace? The man's gaze softened, though sorrow still filled it. You ask the same question I asked once. And the answer is the same. Peace without choice is only another kind of prison. Leora shivered. Her whole life she had obeyed without knowing why. Now she saw the chain that bound her world, and it was heavier than iron. She whispered, If the council finds me, will they take it away? His jaw tightened. They will do worse. They may erase your memory, even change your mind so you never remember what you saw. They will make you like the others, blind again, and they will punish me with death. The words struck her like a blade. Fear churned in her stomach, but stronger than fear was anger. The thought of losing red, blue, green. It felt like losing herself. No, she said, shaking. I won't let them take it. I would rather die than live blind again. The man studied her face. At last he nodded slowly. Then you carry more courage than most. But remember, courage will be tested. Before Leora could speak, a sharp hum echoed above. The sky glowed with searching beams. The hunters were back. The man grabbed her hand. Move! They darted through the rocky paths, hearts hammering. Voices shouted in the distance. One of the beams swept across the cliff, nearly catching them. They stumbled into a ruined cave half buried in the hillside. Inside, the air was damp and heavy with silence. They pressed against the walls, waiting while shadows passed outside. In the stillness, Leora whispered, Why risk your life for this? Why bring me this gift when you know the council will kill you? The human's face grew grave. He sat against the stone wall, his voice low. Because truth must live, even if it costs me. I have seen galaxies filled with beauty, and I cannot watch one world live in chains. Someone must know. Someone must remember. His words sank into her soul. She realized then that this man was not only a rebel against the law, he was a rebel against the galaxy itself. Her voice trembled. But if they catch you, if they kill you, what happens then? He looked at her with tired but steady eyes. Then you carry it. You become the witness. You keep the colors alive in your heart. And you pass them on no matter the cost. Leora's breath caught. Pass them on? The thought was terrifying. She was just one girl in a gray world. Could she carry such a burden? Before she could answer, the hum outside grew louder. The ground shook as a patrol ship landed near the cave. Heavy footsteps echoed. The human stood quickly, pulling her up. They are here. Listen to me, Leora. If they take me, you must run. Do not let them catch you. Do not let them steal this gift. Her throat tightened. No, I won't leave you. You must, he said firmly. Because you are the hope now. Not me. The footsteps drew closer. Shadows loomed against the cave's mouth. The glow of weapons lit the dark. Leora's heart raced. Fear pressed against her chest, but her memory of red, blue, and green burned brighter. She clung to them as if they were life itself. For the first time, she understood. The law was not just a rule, it was a chain. A chain forged by fear and protected by violence. And she whispered to herself a vow no one could erase. I will not go back. I will never go back. The soldiers entered the cave. The law had come for her. The soldiers' boots slammed against the cave floor. Their weapons glowed with cold gray light. Leora pressed her back to the stone wall, her body trembling. The human stood before her, shielding her with his frame. Step forward, one soldier barked. By order of the Galactic Council, you are under arrest. The human raised his hand slowly. I am guilty, he said calmly. But she is not. Let her go, the soldier sneered. She is guilty too. Anyone touched by your corruption will be judged. Leora's blood froze. They meant her. But in that moment, something strange happened. As the soldier's gray light swept across the cave, the memory of color still burned in her mind. Red, blue, green. She clutched them tightly, refusing to let fear erase them. And then, for the first time, something shifted inside her. The dull stone wall behind the soldiers flickered. At first, it seemed like a trick of her eyes, but then she saw it. A faint shimmer of green across the cracks in the rock. Moss. Her breath caught. Her eyes widened. It was not the human's device this time, it was her own sight. She saw it. Life. Hidden. Small, but real. The world was changing for her. One soldier stepped forward, raising his weapon. The human's jaw tightened. Run, Leora, he whispered, but Leora shook her head. Her chest burned with something stronger than fear. She could see now. The gray world was cracking open. The colors were leaking through. And she would not give them up. She screamed, No! The sound echoed through the cave. For a moment the soldiers hesitated. The human seized the chance. He grabbed Leora's arm, pulling her through a narrow gap in the cave wall. Blasts of energy scorched the stone behind them. Sparks flew. The air filled with smoke. They stumbled out into the night. The sky was still gray, but to Leora's eyes, faint streaks of blue shimmered in the clouds. She gasped. Tears ran down her cheeks. It's happening, she whispered. I can see it. Without the device. The human's face softened with awe. Your eyes have awakened. Once they open, they cannot be closed again. The ground shook as another patrol ship landed nearby. Voices shouted. Lights spread across the hills. The human pulled her along. Come, I must show you more before they catch us. They ran until they reached the edge of a forest. To Leora, it had always been a dull wasteland of gray trunks and pale leaves. But now, now it was alive. The leaves shimmered with shades of green, so many that her heart nearly burst. The ground glowed with soft colors she had no names for. She fell to her knees, sobbing. It's so beautiful, she whispered. Her fingers traced the leaves as though they were sacred. Why would they hide this from us? The human crouched beside her, his voice heavy. Because beauty makes people dream. And dreamers are harder to control. She pressed her forehead against the earth, her tears sinking into the soil. For the first time, the world felt alive. Not a prison of gray, but a miracle of light. The human placed a hand on her shoulder. There are more. Do you want to see them? She nodded fiercely. Yes, show me everything. He smiled faintly. Then he guided her deeper into the forest. They passed flowers blooming in colors she could not describe. Yellow like captured sunlight. Purple like twilight's secret. Each one stole her breath, filled her soul with wonder. At a clearing, they stopped. The human pointed to the horizon. Wait, watch the sky, Leora looked up. The clouds shifted and the sun began to rise. At first, she saw only gray light, but then the gray melted away. Colors spilled across the heavens, orange, pink, gold. Her body shook. Her heart felt too small to hold it all. She dropped to the ground, hands over her face, sobbing with joy. It's like fire and water and dreams all at once, she cried. The human's eyes glistened. This is sunrise, the promise of a new day. But their moment of wonder was shattered by a roar overhead. Another patrol ship. Its lights cut across the forest. Leora's joy twisted into dread. The soldiers were relentless. They would not stop until they erased her gift. The human's voice grew hard. They know we are here. They will burn this forest to the ground if they must. We cannot stay. Leora wiped her tears, her jaw trembling with both fear and fury. No, I won't run forever. They can take me, they can kill me, but I will not give up the colors. The human turned to her, surprised by the fire in her voice. For the first time, he smiled with pride. Then you are ready for the truth, and ready to fight for it. The ship's engines roared louder, breaking the dawn. Soldiers dropped into the clearing, weapons raised. But Leora no longer felt like the same girl who once lived in shadows. She had seen colors. She had seen life. And her heart whispered a vow she would never break. They will not take this from me. Not ever again. Chains clinked as they marched Leora and the human into the council hall. The building was vast, made of cold gray stone. Its walls reached so high that the ceiling vanished into shadow. The silence inside was heavy, broken only by the echo of their footsteps. Rows of tall figures lined the chamber, the judges of the Galactic Council. Their faces were hidden behind masks of silver. Their voices, when they spoke, were deep and merciless. Bring them forward, the chief judge commanded. Soldiers shoved Leora and the human to the center of the hall. A great beam of pale light fell upon them, exposing every tremble in her body. Her knees felt weak, but she stood tall. The memory of colors burned inside her chest like a shield. The judge's voice thundered. Human, you stand accused of breaking the highest law. You have restored forbidden sight. Do you deny this crime? The human lifted his chin. His voice was steady. I do not deny it. I gave her back what you stole. I gave her truth. Murmurs spread through the hall. The word truth echoed like a challenge. The judge turned toward Leora. And you, child of this world, you are touched by his corruption. Do you reject what he has given you? Leora's throat tightened. Every eye was on her. The soldiers gripped their weapons, ready to strike. Her people had always obeyed the law without question. But she had seen colors. She had seen sunrise. She could not pretend it meant nothing. Her voice shook, but her words were clear. No, I do not reject it. I will never give it up. A wave of shock swept the chamber. Gasps echoed. The judges leaned forward in their thrones of stone. The chief judge's voice boomed. Then you admit it, you are guilty as well. Leora's heart pounded, but anger burned through her fear. If it is guilt to see the sky as blue, if it is guilt to see a forest alive with green, then I am guilty. But I am also alive. For the first time I know joy. For the first time I know wonder. How can that be a crime? The chamber fell silent. The soldiers shifted uncomfortably. Even behind their masks, the judges seemed unsettled. But the chief judge struck the floor with his staff. Silence. Colors are forbidden for a reason. They bring greed. They bring war. They destroyed your ancestors once. Without law, your world will fall into chaos again. The human stepped forward despite the chains. His voice rang with defiance. You speak of the past, but you blind the future. Yes, colors can bring conflict, but they also bring love, art, and hope. You erase the best parts of life because you were afraid. You call it peace, but it is only emptiness. The judges' robes rustled as they whispered among themselves. Some seemed uncertain. Others clenched their fists in anger. The chief judge fixed his gaze on Leora again. You, girl, what do you see when you look at your world now? Her lips trembled. She thought of the gray streets, the lifeless fields, the empty eyes of her people. She thought of the sunrise, the fire of red, the calm of blue, the life of green. Her voice broke with tears, but she spoke with all her heart. I see what was stolen. I see a world that could laugh and dream but was forced into silence. You call it safety, but it feels like chains. I only asked to live in light, not shadows. The hall grew still. Even the soldiers lowered their weapons slightly. The judges whispered again. Some voices argued sharp and cold. Others murmured softly as if moved by her words. At last, the chief judge raised his staff. Enough, we will decide. The chamber darkened. The masks of the judges glowed faintly as they closed their eyes in silent council. The air felt heavy, pressing against Leora's chest. Her hands shook in their chains. She whispered to the human beside her, Will they kill us? He did not answer at once. His eyes were steady, filled with both sadness and pride. Maybe, but if they do, remember, the colors cannot die now. You carry them inside you. Even in death, the truth will live. Tears burned her eyes. She was only one girl. How could she carry so much? Yet when she closed her eyes, she saw the sunrise again. The world was gray no longer. She would not let them take it. The judges opened their eyes. The hall trembled with their decision. The chief judge's voice was deep and final. You have broken the law. The law cannot be ignored, but neither can the truth you have spoken. The council will give judgment at dawn. Dawn. The word struck Leora's heart. She had seen dawn alive with colors, and now her life hung on what the council would choose when the sun rose again. The soldiers dragged her and the human back to their cells. The heavy doors slammed shut. Darkness surrounded them. Leora sank to the floor, her chains cold against her wrists. Fear gnawed at her, but inside her chest the memory of colors glowed like fire. She whispered into the silence, not to the human, not to the judges, but to herself. I will not beg. I will not surrender. When dawn comes, I will stand in truth. The night dragged on like a heavy chain. Leora sat in her cell, her wrists bound, her back against the cold stone. The silence was broken only by her own heartbeat. Every second felt endless. Dawn would bring judgment. Dawn would decide if she lived or if the colors inside her were erased forever. The human sat across from her, his body tired but his eyes steady. In the dark, his voice was quiet. Do you regret it? Leora shook her head. No. Even if they kill me, even if they take everything I have seen, I will never regret seeing. The man gave a faint smile. Then you are already free. No law can take that from you. Her chest tightened. His words filled her with both courage and sorrow. She did not want him to die. She did not want herself to die. But more than anything, she did not want the colors to die. At last, the sound of footsteps echoed through the hall. The doors groaned open. Soldiers dragged them into the council chamber once again. The hall looked different now. The gray stone glowed faintly with the first light of dawn. The judges sat high upon their thrones, their silver masks shining. The air was thick with tension. The chief judge's voice rang out. The council has spoken. Judgment is here. Leora's knees shook, but she stood tall. She would not bow her head. She would not beg. The judge's staff struck the floor. The law is clear. To restore color is forbidden. To break the law is death, but the judge paused, and a ripple of silence filled the chamber. The truth cannot be denied. The girl speaks of emptiness, and we see that emptiness in her people's lives. Perhaps the law has protected them, but perhaps it has also chained them. Gasps spread through the hall. Never before had a judge spoken against the law. Another judge rose. Her voice was softer. The law kept war away, but it also killed joy. We see no laughter, no art, no song in this world, only obedience. Is that truly peace? The chief judge lifted his mask slightly. His face was stern, but his eyes flickered with doubt. We cannot erase the past, but perhaps we can choose a different future. Leora's breath caught. Was it possible? Could they let her keep the gift? But another judge rose sharply. This is dangerous. If more see what she has seen, chaos will rise again. The galaxy will bleed. Do not be fooled by one child's tears. The chamber erupted in argument. Voices clashed, echoing through the hall. Some demanded punishment. Others pleaded for mercy. The soldiers shifted uneasily, caught between orders and doubt. At last, the chief judge silenced them with his staff. Enough, the council will not kill the girl. She may keep her sight, but the gift will not be spread. It is hers alone to carry. The hall fell silent. Leora's heart pounded. Relief washed over her, yet sorrow followed quickly. She would live, but her people would remain blind. She would be alone in a world of gray. The human bowed his head. Thank you, he said. But his voice carried no joy. The soldiers unlocked their chains. Leora staggered forward, her hands free at last. She looked up at the judges, tears streaming down her face. I will carry it. I will protect it. But one day my people will be ready, and when they are, I will not hide it from them. Her voice echoed, soft yet strong. Some judges looked away. Others seemed shaken. None answered. The soldiers led her and the human out of the hall. The doors closed behind them with a heavy thud. Outside, the first rays of dawn spread across the sky. Leora lifted her eyes, and for the first time she saw it clearly. Not gray, not pale, but alive. The heavens blazed with orange and gold, soft pink and deep violet, a rainbow of fire and light. Her body trembled. Her soul soared. She whispered through her tears, "It's more beautiful than I ever dreamed." The human stood beside her, his face calm. This is your gift now. Protect it. Teach it when the time is right. One spark can light a fire greater than any law. Liara nodded slowly. She knew the path ahead would be hard. She would be watched. She would be feared. But she no longer cared. The colors were hers and she would never surrender them. As the sun climbed higher, a rainbow arched across the sky. She raised her hand toward it, her fingers trembling. Thank you, she whispered to the human. Her voice was full of wonder, full of promise. You changed my world forever. The human smiled faintly, the light of dawn reflecting in his eyes. No, Liara, you changed it yourself. I only opened the door. She stood in silence, her heart steady now. The chains of law still hung heavy over her world, but she carried something greater inside her, truth. And as the rainbow faded into the morning sky, Liara whispered her vow. One day my people will see. One day the world will wake from gray, and when that day comes, the law will not stop us. The dawn stretched wide, painting the horizon with colors her ancestors had forgotten. For Liara, it was not the end. It was only the beginning.